Ray Zaney from 45 Zaney Lane. When I was coming in tonight, I was talking to some of the other gentlemen outside in front of the flagpole, and was mentioned that the lights on the flagpole do not work. And I was also noticing that the roads out there look somewhat frayed and beat up. I was wondering if the council could address those issues and get the dusk to dawn lights fixed if they're not working, and maybe replace the ropes on the flagpole.
Right, if we don't get them replaced while they're still serviceable, if they break, then it's, you gotta send a lift up there. Where right now you can replace it, a new mold with a new one as long as it's not broken. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Are you talking about the one that's outside the building?
Yeah, right up, right beside the front door.
There was also a discussion that came up not too long ago about
Thank you, Ray.
about the flagpole at Hendersonville. Are any of you familiar with that?
Yes, yeah, I'd like to help them out there. They have their, all their services out there at that monument. I think they need somebody who can go up on a lift to change that. I know you're going to talk to our electrician about these ones, Bill. Maybe you can. Right, I know. I'm saying we still got to get somebody to change it, but maybe we can talk to our electrician about going up there helping them out. I mean, we could put the bill for it if there's a bill for it. It's a matter of just going up there and changing it. You know, nobody can climb up there.
Well, who pays the electric?
They're not asking us that. They just need to know if the lights are out and the pole flag isn't supposed to be flown if it's not lit.
As I've come to understand from Mr. Petrensic, who contacted me, there are no lights at that memorial.
There are?
No,
that's what he told
is
me.
he asking for lights?
He's asking for a light to be installed. Yes.
Oh, I thought the question was to work out.
Was that Paul?
Yes.
He's here in the audience, right?
Paul, is that right?
There are no lights there.
There are no lights, right?
I explained to
Okay,
you how
yeah.
it could be done.
What?
Talk to the owner of the property there.
My suggestion via email to the board was that I could try to play out a few scenarios. Paul had already talked to the owners of the bicycle shop there. It could be possible that we work a deal somehow to acquire electric and have it metered from their service, or we could talk to West Penn and have our own separate metered service to provide a light there.
About solar power.
Solar?
Yeah,
That may be an option too. Solar power is becoming more dependable now.
They have solar LED systems for flagpoles.
Yeah, they use them for signals, traffic signals, so if they're good enough for that.
Do you know anything about the cost?
They're reasonable.
Maybe you should just investigate that, or
Or how
have
much
something
time?
prepared for
Is that
next
a
week.
one-time thing?
That's one time.
It's just a one-time.
Would you guys agree? Just have no one investigate, just look at all the options.
Yeah, did you hear what Ray said?
Yes, yeah.
Good.
You guys want to?
Just yes, sir.
When I stated to him that you need another street light right next to the underpass there. And if you have a street light put in right there, and you could put a wiring over to the light through the flagpole. When the street light comes on, the flagpole light will come on.
I don't think West Penn will go along with the tap off of their street light. I can ask, but I doubt that they cooperate with that.
Well, you worked it out, not me.
Are you looking to see?
Yes, right.
No. If he gets a petition, 51% we have to do it, but if we ourselves, the board is interested. Bill, would you look at that intersection he's talking about by the Hendersonville Sea? Do you think it merits a street light? I mean, obviously, he thinks it. Yeah. We can end up doing it ourselves if we think it's the case, or else if the residents in the area petition for it, we have to do it. All right. Anybody else have any comments? We have something first. Go ahead.
Good evening, Brian McConnell, 141 Farm Street in Palm Bell, Pennsylvania. I own the property on McConnell Road. And I wanted to thank the board for the Public Works Director and his cooperation in meeting with me this past week. There's a drain pipe that comes off of Farm Crest Drive that the township is responsible through a consent agreement to maintain. It's fallen into some disrepair, and I met with the Public Works Director, and he has agreed to get in there and make the necessary repairs and maintenance of that structure. So I wanted to thank you for allowing him the time to and the effort to do that. It's a real good cooperative effort there, and whatever access is needed for township equipment and so forth to get back in there to repair that. It's just a matter of letting me know, and I'll make sure that things are opened up so that you can do that activity.
I remember when it went in, I guess it lasted for quite a while, so I guess
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah,
I saw through the lawsuit, you borrowed money from my father and the township to fix that all.
but that was the installation was paid for by funds of all three parties. But it did fall, but the maintenance of the structure post construction.
It's our specs, and that was part of the agreement.
That particular outfall was to be maintained by the township.
The DWN wall needs reset. It is separated from the pipe, so we just have to get up and reset it. Put a new drop foundation underneath it, and we'll be able to reuse the existing DWN wall.
Our guys are good at that.
Our guys are very good.
Yeah, we will, Brian.
Okay, and thank you for that. Also, I've recently been, back up a little. I've been trying to find out who's on the Agricultural Security Area Committee for the township. I went back through the minutes for the past 2 years, and the January minutes when appointments were made and so forth. There hasn't been any activity on that committee for quite some time. And I would like to, I don't know who still remains on the committee, if there still is one. There are some state requirements that need to be met, and there's some education for the township officials and residents that needs to happen in order to maintain a good relationship between the agricultural community and efforts to encourage agriculture in the community. There were several state laws that were passed in years past in that effort. Money set aside to encourage agricultural activities. That being said, we've kind of grown complacent in the township.
Brian, do you know if there are any pending applications or pending properties that wish to be entered?
I don't know of any. I was trying to find out if the board still exists and what activity there is.
The board does still exist.
There are 7-year reviews that are to be conducted. I couldn't find any evidence in any of the minutes recently that showed that there were any 7-year reviews that were conducted.
I mean, the last 7 years, before time goes fast, doesn't it?
I was on that in 2000, I left the township in 2005, and I
See
think
what happens?
we did one 7-year review. We initiated that project in 1993. So it's due. Perhaps we could.
Well, we do have a board, we still have a member, I guess, you're right, we've been complacent in, maybe we need to call a meeting.
Yes, I think that somebody asked about it. It could have been you, Brian. And we're going to have a meeting within the next month to 6 weeks. As soon as I can get together the few agricultural people that still live in our township. And of course, I'll be in touch with you.
And lastly, I've recently been cited by the code enforcement officer for trimming the weeds and so forth on the farm. And I've been attempting to do that. So far, I'm down one piece of farm equipment as a result of residents along Parkcrest, Sunnycrest, and Farmcrest Drives. One resident of Farmcrest Drive has cut the fence and moved his trampoline out onto my property, threw a whole bunch of rocks and things out into the field, cut down trees, and so I'm working with my attorney to get that situation corrected. But also, you know, everyone seems to think that the farm there is nothing more than their dumping ground. I'm being cited for weeds, and the guy complained, cut down limbs off of his maple tree, and then threw those limbs over the fence onto my property. And I'm supposed to comply with the township ordinance. And I'm trying to comply, I'm trying to cooperate, but fair is fair. I think that the code enforcement officer needs to go out and inspect the area out there, find out who's dumping all the grass clippings, who's dumping the rocks, logs in the field, and get them to correct their activities so that I can actively maintain my property in good fashion. I'm trying to work with you here. I need a little help. I beg for your help in doing this.
Have you asked him to do this?
I tried, he just told me to cut the grass. You know my personality very well. I've been here before, and it takes a lot of exercise for me to maintain my temper. And but in the past, I've always shown willingness to cooperate and to get things done for the benefit of the community. I saved 22 acres of the farm for the benefit of this community so that they would have a historical stake, because it is the oldest farm in Washington County owned by the same person, the same family. And Manchester Farm, aside from that, we'll argue that at a different date, but I want to turn it back into something to be proud of, something that we can do. I should, Bill was out, and when you ended up picking up a golf ball out in the middle of the field, and that was the remnants from 20 years ago. I've been beat on enough.
Brian, does he have your permission to come on your property, or do you want me to
I'd
contact
be
you first?
notified if
You have a
anyone
number?
comes on my property.
He has a number for you as far as contact?
He should.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Members of the board, my code enforcement officer provides me daily reports. I'm somewhat well aware of the situation. There was no formal charges filed, it was just a notice of violation. And our code enforcement has been working actively to give the property owner extensions. So I'd just like to make you folks aware of that. He is working to try to get the property under control.
All right, thank you, Bruce. Anybody else have any comments, questions?